In this lecture, we're going to understand where do business analysts fit in, where in the context of products, the processes, or the strategic aspects do business analysts come handy. Business analysts play a very important role right before the project begins, and that's where in the context of pre-sales, the sales and business development. So that's where they can really play a vital role in understanding the value, the business context, and in providing the business case. So that's where the creation of business case and to ensure that there is a good amount of analysis done with respect to the costs and the benefits and also the feasibility of the proposed initiative or project. So that's where the business analyst's role really comes into play. But also, taking on from there, business analysts play a very important role when you have a particular product that needs to be developed. So that's where laying the roadmap, understanding the vision from the stakeholders, understanding the overall big picture view of what is required of the product, what is expected of the product, and how we can deliver that in terms of the iterations, in terms of the releases. All of these different aspects do require the important role of that of a business analyst to handle. Not only these, in the context of the product development, as and when we keep developing the product and adding more and more features and functionality, we also need to understand the customers and the users' feedback about how our product has been faring. And that's exactly where we need, again, the business analyst to come in and help us with the performance of the customer demos, the user showcases, and user testing and usability testing. Let us now take the strategic analysis element. The importance of business analyst there is right at the very start or very top, as I say. So we need to understand from a very high level, a 30,000 feet view of where the organization is, what are the core resources, what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses of the organization. Try and look at it from both the perspective of introspection, that is internally within as well as external to the organization. That is to look at the markets, look at the competitors, look at the external environments, the regulators, and understand the potential impact of each of these on how the organization is behaving. So that's what we call as the strategic analysis and strategy identification and development. So we do a lot of different tools and technologies. We use a lot of these different techniques, such as for example, the pistol or steeple, as what we call, for the external environment factors analysis, as well as the SWOT analysis, which is mainly the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the balancing of how we're going to use the external opportunities and threats to our own advantage within the organization. Not only that, once we understand all of these aspects of the strategy, it's about how we can implement them and try and measure the impact of this strategy on the specific progress. And that's where we use techniques like the balanced business scorecard, as well as some of the techniques like the CSF, the critical success factors, the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and the performance targets. All of these really help us in understanding how well the strategy has been implemented, or how we are going in implementation of this strategy in terms of the specific aspects of the operations and tactics within the organization. So all of this really covers the broader aspect under perhaps a higher element of the strategy. But the role of business analyst is not just restricted there. Business analysts are also very handy in coming up with the requirements, in understanding and transitioning from the strategy all the way down through the operations and then to the tactical level. And that's where we would really help in understanding the requirements, in identifying the problems, the potential opportunities, and then also try and surface the challenges and constraints to the relevant stakeholders and team members. We would also really help in communicating these different requirements, the constraints and challenges to the stakeholders as well as the team members. And in doing so, what we're trying to do is to develop the requirements, refine them, manage the requirements if there are any changes in the process, as well as to maintain the traceability of these requirements from the beginning all the way through to the life cycle end, that is through to the test cases. And not only these, the business analysts are really handy in the context of this product development when it comes to understanding the importance of the validation and verification. They also try and help and support the team with testing the functionality or the system testing as what we call, and ensuring that it is actually meeting the expectations or the requirements. We do loads of functional testing. We do also what we call as UAT, the user acceptance testing. Not only these, we do sometimes get ourselves involved in something called as user testing or usability testing. This is actually testing the product with the real users or the real potential users. So that's where we try and ensure that we capture the feedback of the users and ensure that the feedback is actually put back into the product and make sure that the improvements are continuously happening in terms of the product's functionality or the non-functional requirements aspects as well. Not only this, the importance of business analyst comes into picture when we have the business case creation. So even before a product is created or a project is initiated, we need to identify the costs and the benefits involved. What is the kind of the feasibility that needs to be, or is it really technically feasible to carry out this project? Is it financially viable to perform this particular kind of a program or initiative? Is it viable? Is it really feasible in terms of the several other technologies, several other projects and programs that we already have within the organization? So the desirability of the project, the viability and the potential usability, all of these different aspects we would need to look at when trying to create the business case. Not only these, a business analyst really is very helpful in understanding the as-is process and then try and map out the to-be process. So this is where the process re-engineering aspect comes in. So it's not just on the product side that a business analyst services are required, but also on the processes and how we can improve the existing process on a continual basis to ensure that they're delivering value to the customers, to the business, and to the organization at large. That's another aspect of the business analyst's value add to the organization. So you might want to say that from the point of view of business analysis professionals' contribution and their value add, they really are very, very handy and very helpful in creating value, not just at the very high level, at the strategic aspects, but also at the various aspects of the operational level, as well as trying to create product or a service and deliver it to the customers and users. And I think that you understand from this lecture the very important role played by business analysts in the context of whether it is a process, whether it is a product or a service, or it could be in the context of overall strategic business aspects, and how we business analysts are really helpful in structuring the various aspects of the value generation in the current day's economy, and how we are really helpful in pushing the envelope further and further and further.